Madison. And for Sunday, partly sunny, you're listening to Resistance Radio.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, thank God it's Friday.
Happy Friday, Crudy. Another busy day here in Wisconsin, of course, nationally.
Absolutely, it is. We got a big show. Paul Soglin, mayor of Madison, of course, he's a fine Dem gubernatorial candidate. He joins us very shortly, Dom, 3:30. And Milwaukee's own comedian Will Durst, we're going to play his commentary in the 4 o'clock hour. But Dom, Lordy, there are tapes. James Comey's got to be just ecstatic right about now.
Lordy, there are tapes indeed. Washington Post. Federal investigators have an audio recording in which then presidential candidate Donald Trump and his personal attorney Michael Cohen discussed in the fall of 2016 making payments for the story of Playboy centerfold Karen McDougal,
Shaggy,
who allegedly had an extramarital affair with Trump, according to two people familiar with the conversation.
You would say, why is the allegedly necessary? But apparently Trump pays lots of people, porn stars and Playboy models,
for not having sex.
For not having sex with him.
I mean, that guy should be broke by now. The recording made by Cohen was seized by federal agents now investigating Trump's longtime confidant for potential bank and campaign finance crimes, according to multiple familiar with the probe. In a statement Friday, President Trump's attorney, Rudolph Giuliani, confirmed the recording's existence and said no payment was ever made. The New York Times first reported the existence of the reporting. Trump and Cohen discussed the possible payment after AMI, the parent company of the National Enquirer, bought the rights to McDougal's story for $150,000 in August of 2016 and then sat on it. Here's what Giuliani said. Nothing in that conversation suggests that he had any knowledge of the AMI payment in advance. In the big scheme of things, it's powerful exculpatory evidence.
I'm not an expert on the facts. Yeah.
Lanny Davis, an attorney for Cohen, declined to comment.
Has Trump been vindicated by this? That's kind of what Giuliani is implying.
That's exactly what he's implying. See, the recording shows that he did nothing wrong. But look, let's just say that's the case. And let's just say it wasn't a deal, of course, between Trump and the AMI, the parent of National Enquirer, and his buddy, to do this deal on the side. Let's say that's the case. Well, I thought you didn't know anything about Susan McDougal, right? I don't. I never slept with that woman. I don't know anything about these people. Well, why are you discussing payments then? Let's just say it's all on the up and up. Why are you continually discussing payments to porn stars and centerfolds?
Excellent questions, Dominic. On Twitter, McDougal's lawyer, Carol Heller, wrote that she was learning of this in real time, just like everyone else. Peter Striss, a lawyer who negotiated McDougal's settlement with AMI earlier this year, tweeted, when @Real Donald Trump said, "We're lying," do you think he meant we weren't? That's kind of clever. Above and beyond that, that's just me jamming random words in. The revelation of the recording comes as Cohen has signaled that he might be willing to cooperate. Flip-flop, Dom. with the federal investigation into his business dealings. A probe that has examined his interactions with AMI and a hush money payment he arranged with adult film actress Stormy Daniels, who also claimed to have had a sexual encounter with Trump. An April raid of Cohen's residences and office sought records related to both McDougal and Cohen. Cohen, who served for a decade as lawyer, I call him fixer, at the Trump Organization, was known to sometimes tape conversations with associates. Well, that's a rude habit, Tom. Store them digitally and then replay them for colleagues, as the Washington Post reported in April. That seems quite rude. In the September 2016 conversation, easy for me to say, Cohen and Trump were discussing a plan by Cohen to attempt to purchase the rights to McDougal's story from ANI for roughly $150,000, according to one person familiar with the recording. Trump can be heard urging Cohen to make sure he properly documents the agreements to buy the rights and urges him to use a check rather than cash.
Oh, does he have a
to
history?
Keep a record of the transaction?
If you have to clarify, use a check and not cash when you're talking about
$150,000.
The implication is that you've paid six-figure sums in cash in the past?
Hasn't everybody? It's unclear why Cohen and Trump sought to purchase the story from ANI and they did not complete the transaction. The Wall Street Journal first reported 4 days before the 2016 election that McDougal had been paid by the National Enquirer. At the time, Trump's campaign spokeswoman, Hope Hicks, called McDougal's claims totally untrue.
Totally untrue.
We have no knowledge of any of this, she said. Earlier this year, in an interview with CNN, McDougal detailed what she said was a 10-month affair she had with Trump in 2006 and 2007, beginning in the year after Trump married Melania. The former Playboy model said that their first sexual encounter, Trump tried to offer her money. Very transactional, this Donald Trump. He stiffs everyone else, but he tries to pay the Playboy model. She turned down the offer and began a relationship that included, she said, interactions between the two many dozens of times. Dom, I'm just going to ask aloud, just thinking aloud for a moment.
I really don't want to think about the interactions between Trump and anybody many dozens of times.
Yeah, set Trump aside just for a moment, if you could.
Okay.
Have you ever offered any woman to have sex, and that's not the part I want you to answer aloud, and had you, would you expect to have an ongoing relationship with that woman, even as a mistress? Once you've laid some money on the dresser, don't you think it kind of spoils the romance?
I would think so, but I don't roll with that crowd, man. That's how some people do it. Apparently, that's how Trump does it.
Okay, so you've never paid for it. Has anyone ever paid you?
I have no comment. How much money you get?
I'll give you $2. I get double green stamps. The former Playboy model said that, I think I read that part,
Many dozens of times
they had sex, according to the Playboy model McDougal. In August of 2016, AMI, the parent company of the National Enquirer, paid McDougal $150,000 for the right to her story, but never published an article based on her account. But the agreement meant that McDougal signed a non-disclosure agreement that prevented her from revealing the affair. She filed a lawsuit against AMI this year, seeking to regain the rights to her story, and settled with the company in April. In her lawsuit against AMI, McDougal said she was happy when AMI bought her story, but did not publish it because she was not anxious for publicity, but she said her opinion changed this year when she learned new details about the deal, including that her lawyer at the time and AMI had both been in contact with Cohen while her deal was being negotiated.
Oh.
Sort of double dealing, if you will.
Yeah, who is her attorney really supporting? It seems like he was double dealing, absolutely. But come on, the tapes are there. There are recordings. I want to hear them. I want to hear Trump talking about, make sure
we want to play it for our audience.
We want to make sure we don't pay it in cash. There's a record of the transaction.
But now I hate to do so, but is that not exculpatory? The fact that Donald Trump would want a transactional record, although that seems quite odd under any circumstance, record the fact put it in the ledger. I'm paying off the Playboy model. But is that not some defensible position for Donald Trump to say this is a normal course of business transaction?
What is the accusation? I mean, I'm not, whether or not he had...
Because he's paying off AMI. The payoff would go to the National Enquirer company,
I'm not concerned
not
about
to
the payoff.
McDougal.
The fact is he's talking about paying off a woman he says he never had sex with. Again.
But did they actually negotiate about paying her off, or were they paying off the like amount that she had already been paid? They were negotiating to purchase the rights to her story from AMI, if I understood the reporting correctly. And I have excellent reading comprehension skills.
My point would be this. It's absolutely irrelevant. The fact that he's on record talking about transaction, why would you possibly, whether or not he pays it to her or he bought the rights and it's paid in cash or there's a check or whatever. Remember what Hope Hicks said. Absolutely false. Trump, no way, don't know. No. It's just another example of the lying bastard Putin bitch that he is. That's what concerns me.
Why are you dragging Putin into this one?
Putin's all over this thing, man. Always and forever, every single day. So I'm not concerned about the reality of whether or not the transactions themselves were legal or they're maybe somehow related to the campaign, those things. My point on this whole issue is he said he didn't do it. Now he's caught recorded on record talking about it.
Oh no, we've trapped him. We've discovered Trump's a liar.
Say it ain't so.
Come on, man. Everybody knew he was a liar.
You just, that doesn't prove anything. You just got Trump derangement syndrome. TDS going around these days.
I'm not the one thinking it's a big deal at this point.
What, the continual lies, the provable lies? Was that 3001?
I think there are bigger problems for the Trump administration than whether or not he paid off 1, 2, or more porn stars or Playboy models. But, I've never had that opportunity, Dom.
I got checks.
They always paid me. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Paul Soglin joins us in studio soon. You can join us right now on the phones. 844-967-2789.
Pay for play. It's illegal. It's illegal.
Buy American, hire American, and frankly, to make America great again.
Then it came in and out. It came in 3 times.
The equipment didn't work too well.
I will pay for the legal fees, I promise.
Hi, I'm Becky from Bounce Milwaukee, and I want to be the first to invite you to our newest attraction, axe throwing at Fling Milwaukee. Bring your friends, date, co-workers, or family to experience the rush of throwing axes at Milwaukee's first indoor throwing arena. Open 6 days a week for corporate team building, bachelor and bachelorette parties, date night, or just a fun night out. More information at flingmilwaukee.com or 414-312-4357.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA not only in my state but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Live via phone, he is former U.S. Attorney Jim Santel.
Firing Bob Mueller doesn't mean that the prosecution, the investigation goes away. Pardoning one individual does not mean that you undo everything that has been done before. So this notion that somehow by shutting down and by pardoning and by sort of stopping the process, you're also stopping the wheels of justice is simply, again, it's simply wrong.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Grass-fed, locally raised, 100% organic. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, streaming live on the YouTube and Facebook pages, on Twitter at Devil Radio.
Dom, we had a fine guest in the lobby. I said, let's get started. He is Mayor Paul Soglin. He is a fine Dem gubernatorial candidate. Paul, this is your walk-up music. What did you select, sir? What am I listening to?
You're listening to the French national anthem, La Marseillaise. It's inspiring.
At least you didn't ask for the Russian national anthem, Paul.
He's not a Republican.
I have it already.
Mayor Soglin, before we talk about your gubernatorial run, sir, I've got to admit, you've been the mayor of Madison most of my adult life. You've been my mayor, sir, for most of my life. Paul, when were you first elected mayor of Madison?
I was elected in April 1973 and did 6 years at that time.
And that's right about the time I came to Madison, Wisconsin. Is just a wee youth, a wee lad, Paul. Paul, you and I bumped into each other at the Dane Dem picnic last Sunday, and at that time, you pointed towards someone and you said, there will be the next mayor of Madison. And at that time, you had not made any public announcement that you didn't intend to run for re-election. Of course, you're running for a different office, but just in case things didn't work out for you, sir, who did you point towards? Are you making any sort of public acknowledgement?
Well, I mentioned her by name when I announced I was not running. That's Satya Rose Conway. She's a former member of the city council, very active in the COWS program. There are or have been 3 individuals who've indicated they'd like to be a candidate for mayor. And of the 3, for me, she is so distinctly qualified compared to the others. And I think she'd make a great mayor.
Paul, is it hard? Because, regardless of what happens here, and you were very pragmatic, at least in the quote I saw in the paper, you don't know what the outcome of the primary. Too many people, no way to fully predict or read those tea leaves. But you know that you've been the mayor for an awfully long time, not continuously, but over a number of years and a number of terms, sir. Any bittersweetness, as you know that, come spring of 2019, under any circumstance, you will not be the next mayor of Madison.
When I was mayor in the 90s, 89 to 97, we had a really great city council. What I would say over my span in that 50-year period was the best city councils that Madison's ever seen. We've seen some significant improvement, and there may be some changes in the 2019 election. And you asked anything bittersweet. If we end up with a really great city council 2019, yes, I would have some regrets about not getting to work with them.
Now, Paul, you as a Dem gubernatorial candidate are one of the few that can claim any sort of chief executive experience. You've presided over massive growth in Dane County and Madison. I mean, that's the city that's driving all the job growth in the state of Wisconsin. I mean, almost all. Like half of all the jobs created over the last 8 years have happened in the community you govern as mayor, sir. You've governed and helped shepherd through a number of large budgets. Paul, is it your chief executive experience that makes you the best candidate to be the next governor of Wisconsin, sir?
I don't know if it makes me the best, but it certainly is something that's very distinctive, because we not only want to elect progressives to these responsible offices, but we want them to do well. We want them to do well, not just for the communities that they serve, the state, but because it helps prove to people that people on the left, that those of us who are progressives, can manage, can make things significantly better. And let me just go back to 1973. 1973, Madison and Dane County were purple. There were portions of Madison that were represented by Republicans in the state legislature. The incumbent mayor I defeated, Bill Dyke, was one of the most conservative mayors in the history of the city, in the United States at that time. He was later to go on and run with an avowed segregationist for vice president of the United States. And I can recall in the first month that I was in office, Jim Rowan, you'd now say the title of a deputy mayor, and he came here to Milwaukee. He's worked with Milwaukee mayors. Jim Rowan and I were sitting there and talking in the office about our goals and what we wanted to accomplish. And there was one thing that really drove us. We were not going to leave the city as we found it. We were going to make a difference. We were going to shoot for really great improvement in the quality of life.
Well, I think mission accomplished, if that was the goal. Mayor Paul Soglin, you stick around, sir. We are the Devil's Advocates right here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. We'll go to break. We'll come back. We'll talk for probably another half an hour with you if you got the time,
Great.
Paul. You didn't bring the beer. Where's the beer, Paul? Come back with us and Paul Soglin.
No, we are not French. We're American because you're in America.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, Save the Food, we're helping to stop food waste. Save the Food. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
Hey, everybody. Did you know that Scott Walker spelled backwards is Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network? I know, I was amazed too.
Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Have you got your head in the clouds on how to manage IT for your enterprise? We can make your dreams a reality. With our enterprise cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting, we'll manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Consider Five Nines your personal enterprise IT solution. Enjoy technology. For more information, visit 5nines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Person who's against these regulations to keep poop out of your water and poison out of your food, if one of their offspring had a third arm coming out of their forehead,
I would just think that would be awkward. You'd be very top heavy.
But you would be one heck of a football player.
How would they make a helmet?
All you gotta do is cut a hole in the helmet for the hand to come through, and you could catch
but then
passes
you're elbowing
all over
everybody in the face every time you walk around.
Wear an elbow pad. You'd be fine.
How would you see?
You would be a heck of a football player.
Would you be an arm unicorn?
414 Wisconsin, weekdays 2 to 3 p.m. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Democratic candidate for Congress Kathy Myers has filed a federal election complaint against her primary opponent, Randy Bryce, claiming he used campaign funds for personal use. Getting information and statistics about Milwaukee is now easier thanks to the city's open data portal. And as thunderstorms rolled through Kenosha County last night, an unidentified college-aged woman who was attending the Country Thunder Music Festival was struck by lightning. The woman was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Outside this afternoon, rain likely, temperatures in the mid-70s. Tonight, a 70% chance of rain with lows in the low 60s. Tomorrow, a 60% chance of rain. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates, so relevant they have 1 foot in tomorrow.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Got a fine guest live in our Brady Street studios. He is Mayor Paul Soglin of Madison, a Dem gubernatorial candidate, and soon to be an attendee of a Milwaukee Brewers game. Paul, you doing a doubleheader today?
I'm not going to be able to go to the game. I'm not.
Damn it. At least you made it down to Brady
wanted
Street,
to.
sir.
I mean, I had it timed perfectly from how the morning started till through when we finish, but I just don't think I can make it.
Blame it on
And
Dominic.
that is one of the two biggest things I've given up because of this race. I've seen fewer ball games this season than I have in any time in the last probably 20 years. And then the other thing is I just haven't gotten out on my bike. Of course, today's not the day to do it either.
Well, Mayor, we haven't seen you much here in Milwaukee either. I've lovingly called you Mayor McGrumpy Pants in your absence, sir. Mayor McGrumpy Pants no more. He's just Paul.
Thank you, sir.
See, when you come around, then Crudy's really nice to you.
Then we warm right up to you, Paul. Let me ask you, sir. You know more than I know about how these races may shape up. But we were talking during the commercial break. We're all a little skeptical of the current Marquette University Law School polling. I have no doubt that Tony Evers probably has the broadest name recognition in the state, but these are such small samples, and it's such a broad number of candidates. Paul, I don't see... We aren't going to accurately know until late in the evening of August 14th who's going to win the primary, but you've done some polling, and I'm not asking you to spill all your secrets, sir, but you still think you've got a chance.
Well, let me just go over the differences, first of all, between the Marquette poll and the kind of polling that a candidate would do. The Marquette poll only gives the candidate's name. That's all. And so consequently, it really is only name recognition. Now, you can do two other things, which we do, and we've done to actually compare to the Marquette poll. First is you start out giving just the candidate's name. That gives you one level of acknowledgement. But then you go in steps to try and duplicate what the voter is going to know when they step into the voting booth on election day. They're going to know some of the past previous experiences of the various candidates. So, for example, you would say, such and such a candidate is the superintendent of public instruction. So-and-so might be the president of a union. And in my case, you'd say the longtime on and off again mayor of Madison, Wisconsin. That gets you a completely different response than just the name. Then from there, you go to a third level, which is to discuss that candidate's position on the issues. And you get a different set of responses. Our poll, relative to the Marquette poll, puts the candidates in pretty much the same order. In other words, Evers does the best, I do the second best, Weinhaut does the third best, and then we get a cluster of the other candidates. The difference is, with our poll going into more depth about the candidates, that spread, that massive lead that Evers has in the Marquette poll compresses and is actually a bit smaller. Now, with that said, is what I just described going to turn out on election day? Not necessarily so, because then comes the big factor. How much money, how effective is the advertising, the media work that the candidates do in terms of getting out their name and their message?
Well, Paul, begs the question, sir. You have earlier described your campaign as something of a supper club campaign. You were quoted in the paper, I believe, in Jesse Apoyan piece saying, I'm going to go to events, and on my way to the event, I'm going to stop at the bar, and I'm going to have a sandwich and a beer. And for those that recognize me or want to talk, and generally I would suspect, Paul, you're recognized, people want to talk, I'll discuss my campaign. And some would be critical of that and say there's not enough eagerness to that campaign, sir. How would you answer those critics, Paul? Is that, I mean, you're doing a little more than showing up for a beer and a sandwich, are you not?
I am doing that, and I'm doing, all the debates I can, except, for example, where I have to be at a city council meeting. I will say that there's one thing in my judgment where I was off, and that was the balancing of my obligations as the mayor of Madison to campaigning. And as I've kept my obligations as the mayor of Madison, it has cut into my ability to get out there and campaign, and it has also created conflicts and hot political buttons that may affect the governor's race.
But, Paul, it should be an easy job. I mean, the current governor of the state of Wisconsin, when he was running for president, sir, 15 minutes a day, he phoned it in, Paul. How tough could that job be?
Well, it's interesting you do that, because let's just take an issue right now that's really explosive in Madison, and which I've had to be around, well, two issues that I've had to be around just this past week. One is the debate over the role of police officers in our public schools, and the other is the pressure coming from the Dane County government to try and transfer responsibility of county highways to the city of Madison.
And he had to give testimony in a golf course lawsuit or something, Paul.
And I had to take off an afternoon, yes, and be a witness in a golf course lawsuit, and it never ended up. But I also, at one point, was scheduled for a deposition in another lawsuit. So, yeah, that's been demanding work. I will miss the Sawyer County activities next Tuesday because we have a city council meeting.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Paul Soglin, mayor of Madison, and of course, Democratic gubernatorial candidate, joins us in studio on Brady Street. Thank you so much for coming in, Paul. We talked about some of the issues, or getting to the issues. Let's get to some of the issues, Paul, if we may. Foxconn, a big one for me. I'm not fond of government, going to pocket like that for private companies, let alone international private companies. What's your take? Do you think this is a good deal? Do you believe the numbers that have been presented to the public as to payback and timeframes? Where do you stand on Foxconn, Paul?
You know, it's interesting the way you started out with the question, because there's a lot of things wrong with Foxconn. And one of the things that greatly concerns me is that it's such a horrible deal that when there is a reasonable transaction to be made between the public sector and the private sector, folks like you are going to say no way
Right.
because of these horrible experiences. I don't know where to start. I guess actually I do know where I'll start. There are experts in this field. There are experts on capitalism and entrepreneurship. And I study their work very carefully. I've been attending a lot of functions that the Kauffman Institute, Kauffman Foundation in Kansas City puts on. And I can tell you this much. They've done a lot of research on this subject, on the competition that cities and states get into, exactly what Foxconn was. And it's as though Scott Walker read their playbook on what to do and what not to do, and he flipped everything around. And so this is not coming from some flaming left-winger. This is coming from conservative friends of capitalism. And if we look at the National Review, a major right-wing publication, and we look at the folks with the pockets that own Scott Walker, I'm talking about the Koch brothers, even they say this is a horrible deal. And it's horrible on two counts. One is the enormity of the deal and how it is going to enslave Wisconsin residents for decades without a payback. And secondly, the fact that it went in the wrong direction. When you do have these kinds of public-private partnerships, it should go into small businesses, small, locally owned businesses, local entrepreneurs. This gives capitalism a horrible name.
Paul, there is a op-ed at the Cap Times, the liberal Madison Cap Times, an editorial about Foxconn, and you are commended in this editorial in one of your opponents, the current frontrunner in the Dem gubernatorial race, Tony Evers. They're less complimentary. They think that Tony takes a weak negotiating stance on this issue of Foxconn. Tony, he thinks we're stuck with it, and he apparently, according to the editorial, has taken a weak stance. Paul, as an electoral issue, is Foxconn a divide and conquer, a kill the train, a sort of wedge issue? And you hate to divide and conquer the people of the state of Wisconsin, but before you can govern, you got to win the race. Paul, is this a winning issue, this Foxconn?
I think it is a winning issue, clearly. And I just saw a chart the other day, which I think is accurate, which sort of ranked the Democratic candidates in their firmness in dealing with Foxconn. And it put Matt Flynn first. It put me second, and I can get to the differences between the two of us. Then in third place, it clustered all the other candidates except for Tony Evers, and it put Tony Evers dead last in regards to having a firm position on undoing the Foxconn deal. The difference between Flynn and myself is this. Matt wants to just turn around and sue Foxconn. I've got a slightly different strategy. I am simply going to shut off the spigot, cut off the money, and say to them, if you want to sue us, you can, but you're not getting any more money. And the reason for that is that I've been involved in inheriting, as a mayor, 3 deals during my tenure that other mayors had done, which I decided were horrible deals, and I found very effectively, you shut off the money, that gets their attention.
Paul, could this deal be crafted into a better deal, talking about Foxconn, if, let's say, the new governor, perhaps you, sir, rolled back the manufacturing and agribusiness tax credit? I mean, effectively, manufacturers are getting 0.4%. That's 0%, Paul. That incentivizes them to fire staff and cash out.
This can never be made into a good deal. Never. And the reason is because the whole concept of putting that much, $4.5 billion into a large foreign corporation is just horrible to start with. The best I think we can do is stop the bleeding. In other words, stop our cash flow, because much of this is already done. Property's been acquired, roads are under construction, some monies have already been expended. You can't make this into a good deal. It's money. I mean, we might as well just put the billions of dollars onto a ship and send it to China.
Paul, I don't mean to steal all of my little buddy Dominic's thunder, but we take a little issue with one of your opponents, Tony Evers, on the topic of legalized marijuana. He's been a little milquetoast on the topic. We understand he's supportive of medical marijuana and then some sort of referendum. And here's my question, Paul. We've got counties all around the state of Wisconsin seeking and urging and voting to put referendums out there, legalize marijuana. Dom and I think, share the belief that this is an important issue, perhaps not to all Wisconsinites, but to a strong, vocal minority of us. Paul, what's your stance on legalized marijuana, and do you think it's an electoral winner in the fall?
Let me answer and enjoy giving you the answer in that.
Well, it's not quite 4:20 yet, Paul, but we can go out there a little early as well, sir.
All right. I'm thinking of repeating a stand-up comics joke from 20 years ago. Maybe I will. I'm not equivocating on this. I support legalization of marijuana, medicinal or otherwise. However, I don't think it's as important as creating affordable housing throughout the state. I don't think it's as important as fixing the school system.
But could it, sir, be a source of up to $200 million in new taxes each and every year? Could it be a source of up to 16,000, 17,000 jobs like it was in the state of Colorado with equitable populations? Paul, this is a job creator, and unlike that crappy Foxconn deal, we don't have to give it to a foreign corporation. We'll get paid, we the taxpayers.
We'll actually be depriving foreign corporations of revenue if we go local. Right. And I'm a big believer in supporting local businesses.
Well,
yes.
I'm going to put you...
And the tax revenues would be helpful, and I could see those tax revenues doing a lot of good things in regards to, for example, one of the things nobody talks about in terms of the health dilemma in this country. It's not just about insurance. It's not just about Medicaid. We've got to do something to get the cost of health care down. And I'm a big believer in public-private partnerships of setting up community clinics all over the state. They ought to be accessible in every county. And I can't think of anything better to use tax money coming in from marijuana than to establish community clinics throughout Wisconsin.
Paul, I like that answer. I tell you what, let's take our break right now, Fancy Brian. We are live in studio with Madison Mayor Paul Soglin. He's a fine Dem gubernatorial candidate, and apparently he's pro-weed. I like that stance, Paul. Hate to put you on the spot, Mayor, but as an adult, understanding you're running for office, sir, would you still contemplate smoking it?
No, I do. All right, I have not. Seriously, I can tell you.
Let's say it was a legal state now. Would you smoke one with us?
No. Let me go back to 1968. When I got elected to office in 1968, I took the position, or I changed my life, and I said, I've got an obligation here to my voters, my supporters. I cannot get caught with weed. And then as I became mayor, I took a more firm position in that I've got to be on 24 hours a day. And after the break, I'll tell you the story.
Paul, sounds like you changed your life for the worse, sir. Come back with us. Paul Soglin, Mayor of Madison, perhaps the next governor of the fine state of Wisconsin, and the Devil's Advocates. We'll be right back.
Mayor! Now that's a good idea. I could run for mayor.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Hi, it's Scott Walker.
Scott, David Koch. How are
Hey,
you?
David. I'm good. And yourself?
I'm very well.
On February 22, 2011, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker took a call from journalist Ian Murphy pretending to be billionaire political activist David Koch.
What we were thinking about the crowds was planting some troublemakers.
You know, the only problem with because we thought about that.
You just heard Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker say he actually considered planting troublemakers. Scott Walker wrote in his book, "The fact is we never considered putting troublemakers in the crowd to discredit the protesters." He concluded by saying, "But I had made it seem like we had." Call Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Ask him if he lies to his friends, is he lying to you?
Well, I'll tell you what, Scott. Once you crush these bastards, I'll fly you out to Cali and really show you a good time.
All right, that would be outstanding.
This message paid for by the People for People Corporation.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. It's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
The Devil's Advocates.
Tom Perez, chair of the Democratic National Committee. Scott Walker went on something of a Twitter storm, very Trumpian. What do you think this foretells for Scott Walker's future as the governor of the state of Wisconsin?
Wisconsinites have woken up. He talked about we need an optimistic message. How can you make people feel optimistic when you take away their health care? How can you make people optimistic when you take away the right to bargain? How can you make people feel optimistic when you're gerrymandering the heck out of districts?
Radio for the 99%. I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. If you missed any of this fine program, please check out the website, Dom and Crute.
Paul, this song for you, you know, Scott Walker likes to hit you with the whole
yes
Fidel Castro thing, but I would remind you, sir, he's got a Russian spy in his background.
Well, and we both got pictures.
Paul, you were telling a story before the break. We'd be remiss if we didn't hear the outcome.
I can't tell it really properly. It'd take too long, but I'll just frame it, which is this. You'll recall when Bill Clinton was president and he was asked if he'd ever smoked weed. He said he had, but he never inhaled. So there was a stand-up comic from Madison working in D.C. at that time, and he says, well, back in Madison, we've got a mayor who smoked weed, only he never exhaled. But, you know, people stretch stories.
Paul, what do they describe Madison as? Like
76 square miles surrounded by reality. And let's just go back to where we started this conversation. When I came into office, Madison and Dane County were purple. And it was expected that as the county became more suburban, it would become more Republican and more right-wing. And the point is this, and I don't want it lost in the whole context of the governor's race. If you go in there as a progressive and you stay with your principles, you work a better community, you not only get reelected, but the progressive message spreads. And now we're producing numbers of Democratic and progressive pluralities in Dane County and Madison that rival Milwaukee.
5,000 new Democratic voters every 4 years, every elective cycle. He is Madison Mayor Paul Soglin. I'm glad you made it down to Brady Street. Paul, if people want to get involved in your campaign, what's the website? How can they reach out or give a few bucks, sir?
Full name, Paul Soglin, forgovernor.com.
Paul Soglin, forgovernor.com. Paul Soglin, thank you for coming down, sir.
God, this was fun. I should have done it a lot sooner.
Yes, you should have. And while we still got a moment, I would encourage the value of radio advertising. I hear it might be the way to win the primary. Thanks, Paul. Have a great night.
I'm for it.
Thanks for coming down to Milwaukee, sir.
We're American because you're in America, okay? Greatest country on the planet.
No, I'm going to stay for a while. How about that? Freedom.
Bark and Scratch Outpost. Free local same-day delivery. That's right, free local same-day delivery from Origin, Stella, and Chewy's. Order all your favorite products online at MilwaukeePetFood.com. At Bark and Scratch Outpost, we think outside the bag.
Come on down, you will see. We do it naturally. MilwaukeePetFood.com. Bark and Scratch Outpost.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Tale of the tape. The storm came out of nowhere. I'm Michael Toscano. We now know that former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen did record calls with Donald Trump. The FBI has at least some of them now, and correspondent MJ Lee tells us about one discussion about payments to former Playboy model Karen McDougal.
This is the woman who has previously said that she had a 10-month-long affair with Donald Trump some while ago. Now, this recording surfaced, the New York Times is reporting, as a part of the raid that the FBI made on Michael Cohen's home, office, and hotel room some months back. We already knew that they had taken lots and lots of documents and materials.
The captain of that duck boat that capsized in bad weather in a Missouri lake near Branson survived and is said to be cooperating with investigators. The big question is why the boat was on the water in such rough conditions at a cost of 17 lives. Witness Kurt Ellman saw people get caught up in it.
That storm came out of nowhere. They were doing their best to get back and get on land. One of them did. The other one didn't quite make it. It is tragic.
There is some good news. Doctors now say 2 adults in critical condition after nearly drowning will survive. The decision surprised some people, but the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled against a gun law, and California gun owners can keep their high-capacity magazine clips for now.
The law includes all those who own them before the ban must turn them over to the government, destroy them, augment them, sell them to a licensed gun dealer, or ship them out of state. John Echeverria arguing for the state of California.
The number of large capacity magazines used in public mass shootings will be reduced.
Aaron Murphy on the other side argued that since a lower court ruled there may be some merit to the claim that confiscating once legal property may be unconstitutional, there could be irreparable harm.
If this law were to go into effect before we can litigate our serious constitutional claims.
The Ninth Circuit Court upheld the lower court's decision to temporarily block confiscation. Jim Roop, Los Angeles.
Stocks ended slightly lower on Wall Street today, but still managed to eke out a small gain for the week. I'm Michael Toscano.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
In the studio, Reuben Harpo, the griot of our community.
The purpose for education is to keep the world from cheating you. And then I read about it in Ebony magazine by Lerone Bennett. Lerone said that, Dr. Mays said that if you're ignorant, the world will cheat you. And if you're weak, the world will kick you. And if you're a coward, the world will keep you running.
The Earl Ingram Show, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m., Saturdays, noon to 3 on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
A 1-2 punch at the United Nations today. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and U.S. Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley teaming up to get countries, including China, to stop relaxing sanctions legally and illegally on North Korea as efforts toward denuclearization are underway. Secretary Pompeo.
North Korea is illegally smuggling petroleum products into the country at a level that far exceeds the quotas established by the United Nations. These illegal ship-to-ship transfers are the most prominent means by which this is happening. These transfers happened at least 89 times in the...
We and the Security Council and the international community have to support those talks. And the best way we can support those talks is to not loosen the sanctions.
I'm Michael Toscano.
Do you 311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Democratic candidate for Congress, Kathy Myers, has filed a federal election complaint against her primary opponent, Randy Bryce, claiming he used campaign funds for personal use. Getting information and statistics about Milwaukee is now easier thanks to the city's open data portal. And as thunderstorms rolled through Kenosha County last night, an unidentified college-aged woman who was attending the Country Thunder Music Festival was struck by lightning. The woman was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Outside this afternoon, rain likely. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Tonight, a 70% chance of rain with lows in the low 60s. Tomorrow, a 60% chance of rain. You're listening to Resistance Radio.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, Hour 2. Dom, fine guest in Hour 1. He was Madison Mayor Paul Soglin. He seemed quite joyful on the way out, Tom. He said, what, I should have done this long ago.
Yeah, that was fun, man. I mean, and unfortunately, there's never enough time because, you know, we've had a lot of the other candidates on multiple times, can get through lots and lots of questions and back and forth and stories. But, man, he sure does have a lot of stories.
He told a few in the lobby. I mean, I just walked back in just in time to get back on the air with you, my friend. And other than the booking, you know, and I'm happy and proud that Paul came down, although waiting for the Brewers to come back to town. I mean, I told him last Sunday, Paul, it's time to get down to Milwaukee and come on the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. And you know what he said to me? I think I mentioned this. Maybe if I can catch a Brewer game that same night.
Man,
right. Little doubleheader, right? Well, you know, the thing I'm probably proudest of, although it took me a week to get him back down to the studio. Actually, it took me a couple months to get him down here. But most proudest of calling him Grumpy Pants to his face. Mayor McGrumpy Pants.
Mayor McGrumpy Pants.
As I cleared the air with Paul. See, I told you I was his friend, no?
Well, but that's how it is. If they don't come on, then we have no idea. We can only assume.
He's been on before, just not since he ran for governor.
Mayor McGrumpy Pants is too good of a name for anyone to be mad about because it's just a great name.
Mayor McGrumpy Pants. I like Paul Soglin, you know, and quite frankly, he was telling me when he finds himself in dilemmas, and ultimately, if you serve a government, if you run for office, you know, you're going to be conflicted at some point. Look at our governor. We know which direction he follows.
Well,
every time there's a little conflict, you know.
There's ranges of confliction.
Run towards the check. That's what Scott Walker always does. He says, you know, far too often in his life, he's chosen the alternative route, which is to fight like hell or stand up and just push back. And he said, sometimes I make enemies. And I said, well, Paul, you're singing to the choir right now.
Right, you and me both, buddy.
I got no filter either, Paul. So I admire that about the man. Also, another guy in the state of Wisconsin, some admired Mike Ellis. He has passed away, at least according to Action 2 News, WBAY, a man who spent more than 40 years of his life dedicated to Wisconsin politics. Ellis died Friday morning, a family member told Action 2 News. Ellis was a Republican, announced in 2014 that he would not seek re-election after 32 years of representing Neenah in the state Senate. And of course, the thing that drove him out of business, Tom, one night drinking with Grothman and getting caught on tape by Project Veritas in what he so inopportunely said
on tape
on Project Veritas's tape is that he was going to start a super PAC and run some negative ads against his opponent, effectively coordinating with a third-party group. And what Ellis described, in which helped him be run out of office on a rail, or at least hastened his retirement, is the exact sort of lawlessness that actually Scott Walker perpetrated in real life.
So
a hypothetical story gets one guy thrown out after 32 years. This is the guy, in part, that helped create the Government Accountability Board. This is the good government guy.
Mike Ellis.
For Republicans. No, I didn't always like Mike Ellis. But to his credit, he and Jayhawk and others, I'm sure, helped create good governance, which was the hallmark of the state of Wisconsin before Scott Walker.
Common Cause in Wisconsin.
Yes.
Was Jay in the legislature then? I mean, what was the...
I thought he was a legislative aide.
Okay.
I thought he was a pretty significant, a well-regarded staffer, but he and Mike Ellis drew up the GAB on a cocktail napkin, sort of Foxconn style, is my understanding. And, of course, it came into being. And then the Republicans didn't like it because they might actually investigate the corruption of their governor. So they crushed it, and they crushed Ellis. They sent him
doing
back
the same corruption that they didn't want the GAB investigating them on.
That, in fact, Scott Walker perpetrated against then-standing state law and legal precedent in the state of Wisconsin. Because it's not like it wasn't decided law before Scott Walker went out and broke it.
It's not like he didn't know that it was decided law before he went out and broke it.
The GAB was telling everyone. The Murray Burke campaign knew you couldn't coordinate with others, Tom. Everybody knew you couldn't coordinate with others. Scott Walker knew you couldn't coordinate with others.
But he didn't care.
He didn't care. He just broke the law. Ends justify the means.
And then they changed the law, so that means they didn't break the law. But only in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, just like Scott Jensen wasn't corrupted by the caucus scandal. Right?
No, not at all.
I mean, he went down to Waukesha County, where the district attorney gave him a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Who was that district attorney again?
Bratcham.
Oh, yeah. Now he's the AG.
Now Scott Jensen is a high-paid lobbyist because no longer a felon. He's eligible to be a lobbyist in the state of Wisconsin now. Sort of a better sort of expungement when, you get your felonious behavior overturned and you get to go be a high-priced school choice, a Betsy DeVos conduit to feed school choice money, campaign contributions back to Wisconsin Republicans. It's a good living if you can get it, Tom.
So Mike Ellis has passed, what was he? Believe he was 77 years old?
Yes.
That's about how old Paul or some of these guys might be when if they were to win, when they were to get out of office.
Mike Ellis was 77 years old. Paulie, very sprightly, I think 72, Dom.
844-967-2789. Crudy, you brought up
the corrupt governor of the state of Wisconsin, Scott Walker.
Oh, yeah, that guy. There's a story.
Let's bash him. Hashtag Walker bash.
I think absolutely we should. Here's a story from Patrick Marley in the Journal Sentinel. Scott Walker is mum on Russia in the Trump era, but he vilified Russia and Putin in 2015.
Okay, again, they're burying the leads. They've so buried the actual there of the story. I don't care what Scott Walker was tweeting out. I don't care what his words were. Just like don't believe a word that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth. Don't believe a word that a candidate tweets out. Look at their actions. Look at his actions. He wasn't tough on Russia. He was canoodling with the Russian spy. She, in her heartfelt blogging in Russian, said, he showed no opposition to Russia. So when, the you-know-what hit the road, I guess it's just tire rubber hit the road.
When the crap hit the road.
You-know-what hit the pan? Scott Walker was all soft on Russia.
All right, well,
at least when he was, addressing the Russian honeypot. Let's not forget.
They didn't bury the headline, Crudy. They're just teasing you.
The other headline, Dom, should be that Scott Walker accepted money from Russian oligarchs. Currently, is he under indictment, the oligarch? Blatnovic?
Shh. We'll get to it. Folks, you got to stick around. Let's get to it. Let's set it up because it's very important.
Because the Journal Sentinel buried the lead.
To realize the depth of the hypocrisy of Scott Walker is to go back and review how, again, this is a political man. This re-emphasizes that this man will do anything for money. I'll start it off, Crudy, then you can jump in. Governor Walker these days carefully avoids talking about Russia, but in 2015, he frequently discussed the threat the country poses to the U.S.
Yeah, but in 2015, he also talked about building a northern wall. He's very malleable, Dom.
Well, he has lots of policy ideas. Then he was running for president and eager to portray Democrats as too soft in their handling of Russia. Now he's seeking a third term as governor and refuses to say what he thinks of President Donald Trump's attempts to establish friendly relations with Russia. It's the latest example of Walker passing on criticizing a president who is beloved by the GOP base and quick to fire off angry tweets at critics. That's not my jurisdiction, Walker said Monday, in passing on what he made of Trump's downplaying Russia's attempts to influence U.S. politics as he stood alongside Russian President Vladimir Putin. Walker sidestepped that question just before it was revealed that he had been photographed in 2015 with a Russian official and a Siberian woman now accused of attempting to interfere with American politics to help Russia.
Accused, spy held with no bail.
While Walker won't talk about his views on Russia now, he took an aggressive stance when he was seeking the presidency. Here's a quote from June of 2015. Russia poses the greatest security challenge to Europe since the Cold War. It's time to respond with much-needed American leadership.
I think he meant himself, right?
I think so. Walker advisor Ben Reisinger wouldn't say this week whether Walker still held that view, but said the governor is focused on delivering results for hard-working families to keep moving Wisconsin forward. Walker tweeted out about Russia nearly 20 times in 2015 and 2016, writing that President Barack Obama was outplayed by Putin in Syria. He wrote that Hillary Clinton, Obama former Secretary of State and eventual Democratic presidential nominee, had made it possible for Russia to hack U.S. secrets. He accused Russia of downing a Malaysia Airlines plane and criticized Putin for invading the Ukraine.
So let me get this straight. He tweeted about Russia about 20 times. How many ham sandwiches did he tweet out that year?
Way more than that. Under the Barack Obama-Hillary Clinton doctrine, Putin has found nothing but mush, Walker tweeted in September of 2015. Now, Walker is not saying whether Trump is being tough enough with Putin. For months, Walker has been loath to criticize Trump. He has declined to say who have accused...
Say whether
he believes the women who have accused the president of groping them or what he thinks of Trump's immigration policies. At a White House event this week, Trump called Walker a favorite of mine, even though he has mocked him in the past, such as in 2016 when he said Walker looked like a little tough guy when he rode his motorcycle.
That part's true.
One of the few things Trump has said that is true.
Reading a piece from Patrick Marley at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Normally, Patrick does not bury the lead like he has in this
we're going to
piece.
get to it. We're getting to it.
Should we take our break? Let's tease the actual the meat of the ham and cheese sandwich tweet. That means play the music, fella. We'll take a little break. You're listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. The good stuff's coming, though. You know, the really good stuff, the meaty filling of this fine piece, this damning piece about the governor of the state of Wisconsin. Do you think he escapes, much like he escaped on the John Doe 2, do you think Scott Walker will escape? He's sort of the Teflon governor when it comes to actually being held accountable for his corruption now.
So far he has been, but remember the Teflon Don Gotti, he eventually died in jail.
I don't know if Scott Walker's going to jail.
Well, I'm just saying, eventually the Teflon wears off. Eventually it gets a little sticky. And we'll see what happens. There's a lot of meat on this bone when we come back, folks. Stick around, 844-967-2789.
They'd like to take me out for a lot of reasons far bigger than just this election.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
The first step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
You know, they can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely. Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
J.D. Davis Funeral Home, located at 4803 West Burlott Street, is dedicated, dignified, and distinguished in serving you in your time of need. Direct cremation specials starting at a very low cost of $595. That does not include cremation permit or crematory fee. Traditional funeral packages starting at $1,995 with a 20-gauge metal casket included. Title 19, Milwaukee County General Assistance accepted. Call today, 414-444-8300.
Once again, the American public has some reading to do. In a 29-page indictment today, Americans need to take a look at page 6, paragraph 20, and here come those important 8 words: to interfere with the 2016 U.S. presidential election. That is it.
Jim, I'm going to make a confession on behalf of the panel. Dom's not going to read the indictments.
Come on, maybe.
The Devil's Advocates, political commentary from the back of the class.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
I got a joint here, man. I've been saving for a special occasion.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It's Friday. We air grievances. You can chime in if you like at 844-967-2789. You can talk or call that line.
I got a grievance. Reading this piece about Scott Walker, you'd hardly know that he is corrupted and associated with a Russian spy.
I haven't heard that part yet.
Patrick Marley, fine journalist, but Patrick, you buried the lead, sir. Let me read. In recent days, it has become a difficult issue for Walker to dodge because of the arrest and indictment of Maria Butina, who is accused of conspiring to interfere with U.S. politics to influence policies on Russia without registering with the U.S. Department of Justice. Dom, that makes her a spy. Walker has had his photo taken with Butina and her patron, Russian Central Bank Deputy Governor Alexander Torshin, at the 2015 National Rifle Association convention in Nashville. Walker has said his talk with the pair was brief and similar to ones he has with supporters who approach him at events. He has said he has not been contacted by authorities about the matter, but he's lying, Dom. According to the Washington Post, this wasn't some rope line random meeting between him and the Russian honeypot. She was apparently an invited guest in the green room, the VIP green room. And Scott Walker, he, after leaving the stage, greeted her, Dom, and she wrote, let me make sure I get this accurately, an online post at the time. Butina wrote that Walker, and here's another claim that I have not seen verified, Dom, who took a semester of Russian at Marquette University.
No, he says
according
that,
to Scott Walker.
but we haven't seen transcripts.
Well, he's never released his transcripts from college, Dom. Butina said that Walker said hello and thank you to her in Russian. Walker aides posted the photo of him with Butina and Torsion at the website of his political group, his presidential campaign in waiting, Dom, where he took massive donations. It was called Our American Revival, just as they did with others Walker met at the time. We talked this in the words of Butina, the spy. We talked about Russia. I did not hear any aggression towards our country, the president, or my compatriots. That's what the spy Butina, in an online translation, said about Scott Walker. The same guy harshly tweeting out, mostly because Obama was soft.
And Hillary, yes, the Obama-Hillary foreign policy.
Walker does not recall anything like that, according to Reisinger. Does he remember the secret router he had at the county executive's office? Yeah. Does he remember coordinating with third-party groups? This man, Scott Walker, convenient, faulty memory. I read on. Butina attended the launch of Walker's presidential campaign in Waukesha, according to a report this May from Mother Jones magazine that included a photo of an online post by Butina from the event. In his public comments during the period, Walker routinely took a stand against Russia and Putin. Hillary Clinton tried to appease Vladimir Putin with a reset button, Walker said during an August 2015 speech at the Citadel. Sensing weakness, Putin today is redrawing the map of Europe with loaded guns. He is dismembering Ukraine, trying to destroy NATO, and threatening to use nuclear weapons. His criticism of the reset button became a refrain for him, one that got him applause at small gatherings in early primary states and well-attended events such as CPAC. Days after the Walker photo was taken with Butina and Torsion, here's the real story. Our American Revival received $250,000 from Access Industries, a company founded by Ukrainian-born billionaire Lynn Blavatnik. Blavatnik, who was U.S. and U.K. citizenship, previously was a part owner of a Russian oil company.
So Blavatnik gives Walker's campaign $250,000 a couple of days after he meets with the Russian spy whom he greets in Russian?
Dominic, months after the Our American Revival donation, Access Industries gave $1.5 million to the super PAC supporting Walker's presidential run. The super PAC reportedly returned $1.2 million of that sum after Scott Walker flamed out. Come back with us. We'll never flame out. We are the Devil's Advocates. Join us. Grieve at 844-967-2789.
Hey, you want to get high, man?
I'm an Eagle Scout.
Ooh, I'm going to hit the pause button right there.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with Bill Carroll, president of Teamsters Local 344. Bill, why are you union? Teamster strong.
Well, Crudy, our strength comes from our membership. The Teamsters are North America's strongest labor union with 1.4 million members.
Bill, what does the Teamsters do for the next generation?
The same thing that the Teamsters have done for the last 100 years, assisting groups of workers in negotiating improvements in their wages, hours, and working conditions.
Where do people go if they want to know more about the Teamsters, more about joining the union?
There's 3 easy options. They can call Local 344 at 414-258-4545. They can contact us through our website. That's local344.org. Local, the number is 344.org, or they can contact us through the Local 344 Facebook page.
Be union strong. Join Teamsters 344. Be like Crudy. Be like News Talk 1510 AM. Stand with the unions. Join the Teamsters. Local344.org.
Ignacio, what do you got for us today?
Hey, I quit paying attention for like maybe one day, and all hell breaks loose. That goes to show me I got to pay attention every single day to your radio program, or else who knows what will happen.
If you don't listen to the Devil's Advocates 3 hours every day, Nacho, you're missing a lot.
You got that right. I just learned that today. I turned it on, and I'm listening, and you really just rocked my world today. I was just totally blown away.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
Totally blown away.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The Milwaukee Bucks are looking for local talent to perform at their new arena. Auditions will be held August 4th and 5th for dancers, tumblers, drummers, and other types of entertainers. Milwaukee Brewers pitcher Josh Hader is expected to address the press today about the controversial tweets from him that surfaced during the All-Star game. And the Brewers get back to work tonight after taking 4 days off for the All-Star break. They start a 3-game series against the Dodgers tonight at Miller Park. Outside this afternoon, rain likely. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Tonight, a 70% chance of rain with lows in the low 60s. Tomorrow, a 60% chance of rain with highs in the low 70s in Milwaukee, mid-70s for Madison. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Oh, it's already been brought in. Tom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Happy Friday to us all. Dom, back to this Patrick Marley piece just for a minute. The very last paragraph perhaps should have been the lead. I'm going to read again from the last few, the conclusion of the piece, if you will. Blavatnik, who has U.S. and U.K. citizenship, previously was a part owner of a Russian oil company. Let's not forget Blavatnik's company, Access Industries, gave Scott the Russians and Ukrainians just as Walker downplays his encounter with Butina and Torshin by saying it's just a photo op and not a meeting. Here is what Joanna Bellman-Dullen over at One Wisconsin Now says. The timing of this $250,000 contribution sure looks like Scott Walker's non-meeting meant something to somebody. But Reisinger, the Walker advisor, said Walker's team had been in touch with Blavatnik months before the NRA conference, and Walker's encounter with Butina, from protest to recall to these latest shameful tinfoil hat theories. The far left of the Democratic Party is showing it will stop at nothing to attack Scott Walker and derail his reforms, Reisinger said in a statement. No matter how much hate and anger they throw at him.
Hate and anger.
And how much the media buys their sham accusations. I guess that's us, Tom. Yeah. The governor remains focused on delivering results for hardworking families to keep moving Wisconsin forward. Months after the Our American Revival donation, Access Industries gave $1.5 million to a super PAC supporting Walker's presidential run. So the Russians gave him, what, $2 million in total? Or $1.5 million in total? I mean, it's a little gray from the reporting, but shouldn't that be near the lead somewhere?
Yeah, it could be the title. So Walker takes $250,000 from Russian oligarch 2 days after meeting with accused Russian spy.
Dominic, I also would reference the audience to a piece that published at the Wisconsin Gazette, February 10th of 2010. The American Democracy Legal Fund has filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission and is alleging a possible campaign violation by Scott Walker. The Wisconsin governor recently established Our American Revival, a political group organized under the Section 527 Internal Revenue Code. Our American Revival's treasurer is Andrew Hitt. ADLF is in the complaint filed by Brad Woodhouse, says Walker, OAR, Our American Revival, and Hint may have violated the Federal Election Campaign Act of 1971. The facts indicate that Governor Walker is testing the waters for a campaign for the President of the United States using OAR as his exploratory committee, and in doing so is raising and spending funds that are beyond the contribution limits and source restrictions of the FEC Act. So Scott Walker basically opened up an illegal 527 to run a shadow campaign that could take anonymous corporate donations uncapped, which of course a presidential candidate could not do.
But he wasn't a presidential candidate. He did not declare. So
until July.
Right.
But he was meeting with Butina in April, and he had already been, according to his own campaign, right, talking with Blavatnik for months prior to the April meeting. So the $250,000 contribution to the Our American Revival, which was not supposed to be a campaign at all, but instead, you know, an independent group that just put out ads. But of course, you can't have it both ways, Scott. Either you're in violation of the FEC by your own campaign's claims, you know, running an illegal 527 organization, or, I mean, I don't know if there's an order. Violation of the FEC, just like was alleged in the earlier complaint filed. Scott Walker, if it is true that this timing, this April timing, this contribution of $250,000 to the Our American Revival was not indeed in response to his meeting with the Russian spy, but predicated on prior communications and the illegal use of a 527 organization that's supposed to be independent of the Scott Walker campaign. Which is it, boys and girls? And why aren't the media asking these tough questions?
Well, let's go back to 2 days ago. Patrick Marley in the Journal-Sentinel. I'm going to jump in briefly in the middle of this article. Butina said in online posts in 2015 that Walker said hello and thank you to her in Russian and that she did not detect any hostility towards Russia from him, as we mentioned. Walker said he did not recall whether he spoke Russian to her, again, you know, this memory of his, but did take one semester of the language in college. We have not yet verified that. As he remembered talking to her, Walker said, well, I do now because it's all over the media, but to me, it's just another person we met. In a court filing Wednesday, prosecutors alleged Butina was in touch with Russian intelligence operatives and once offered sex to someone in exchange for a position with an unnamed special interest group. An affidavit filed earlier by an FBI agent alleging a Russian official, Torsham, according to media reports, requested that Butina write a brief report about a political event she was to attend in 2015. The next day, Butina wrote a report that, quote, included descriptions of her speaking to a political candidate on the night of the announcement, as well as Butina's previous private meeting with the candidate in 2015 at the 2015 annual Gun Rights Organization members meeting, unquote. It is not clear if that portion of the affidavit is referring to Walker. Now, we know Walker...
We strongly suspect that it refers to Scott Walker.
But that indicates a private meeting. Now, let's go back. What did his campaign say? Well, it was in the atrium.
Public.
And then it was in the green room. And now...
Well, the Washington Post reported it was in the green room. Wisconsin media, outside of this fine ensemble, has apparently not taken note of the fact that Scott Walker is publicly lying about this topic.
844-967-2789. Crudy, there's...
How about this one? 608-266-1212. Call the governor of the state of Wisconsin and tell him to stop lying to us about his relationship with Russian spies and Russian oligarchs who gave money in numbers and denominations that would exceed the FEC limits. Because if Scott Walker was truly interested, if he was testing the waters, which of course we all know he was,
yes,
because he eventually ran for office effective July 21st of 2015, then Scott Walker was violating campaign finance laws by his own campaign's admission today.
But as you
What's
say,
worth, violating campaign finance laws or
meeting with the Russian spy and taking Russian money? Meeting with the Russian
and then
spy
getting a check from the Russian
and
oligarch.
taking Russian money is worse, because the last time he broke campaign finance laws, nothing happened.
Oh, yeah, the impunity of the elite.
Yes.
Although he hardly seems elite.
Well, he does the elite's bidding, then it makes him part of the ensemble. From the actual complaint regarding Maria Butina, there's a back and forth, some direct messages on Twitter. And I just want to get this out there, because this is the person that Scott Walker met with privately, ? Maybe in the green room, maybe in the atrium, who knows? But a couple of days afterwards,
Maybe at the Fister.
Maybe at the Fister. So Butina is communicating via direct messages on Twitter with the Russian official, which we all believe to be Alexander Torshin. Here's what Butina said. Time will tell. We made our bet. I am following our game. I will be connecting the people from the prayer breakfast to this group. Most importantly, you get better. Everything else, we will win. So apparently Torshin may be having some health issues. Torshin responds, no doubt, of course we will win, but you are right, need to beat the illness first and get out of the hospital. I made an attempt today, didn't work. And it's not about winning today's fight, but to win the entire battle. This is the battle for the future. It cannot be lost, or everyone will lose. Butina replies, true, but don't try to get out right now. The doctors ordered you to stay for a reason. Better finish the treatment. Please do not risk it. You have a key role and you know it. I will not manage without you. The Russian official, Torshin, replies, no, this is a mistake. Your political star has risen in the sky. Now it is important to rise to the zenith and not burn out prematurely.
Like Scott Walker's presidential campaign.
Right. Butina responds, oh, well, I am just starting in this field. I still have to learn and learn from you. These are not just words, ! Harsh and impetuous moves will ruin everything early. Torshin replies, this is hard to teach. Patience and cold blood and faith in yourself, and everything will definitely turn out.
Scott Walker has at least two of those quantities, Dom. Cold blood and undue faith in himself.
And finally, and this one really gets me, folks. Twitter direct messages between Butina and Torshin. Butina says, by your recommendation, I am setting up the groundwork here, but I am really in need of mentoring. Or the energy might too towards the wrong direction. Yesterday's dinner showed that American society is broken in relation to Russia. This is now dividing line in opinions, the critical one in the election race. Political party one are for us. The other major political party against. 50-50. Our move here is very important.
Why is it that the Russians targeted primarily the Republican Party, Dom, and the leaders thereof? And they utilized the National Rifle Association
and
the Christian Evangelicals.
The National Prayer Breakfast, yeah. They use guns and religion to infiltrate the Republicans. Why would they do that? Republicans are blind?
Gullible?
Yes.
They're people of profound faith.
Oh, and they love themselves some money.
Ends justify the means? That certainly sounds like the preacher kid. Scott Walker, you know, the A+ NRA rated governor of the state of Wisconsin. Why is it when you do a Venn diagram with those being influenced by the Russian campaign, it's not a diagram, it's a circle around Scott Walker and his corrupt campaign. And Donald Trump, he's in that diagram. Devil's advocates will call him out. Will be the journalist that this state needs for these times. Call a corrupt spade a corrupt spade. You know that SOB I mean. His name's Scott Walker. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates on the other side. Your calls welcome, along with your grievances at 844-967-2789.
But there's nothing I can think of that I'd rather do than have Russia friendly.
And they literally and figuratively get hooked, and once they get hooked, there's no going back.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, Save the Food, we're helping to stop food waste. Save the Food. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, I work hard to be a leader in my industry, and I know the challenges posed by changing technology. It's my priority to make sure your network is up over 99% of the time. There's no question, trying to manage your own business IT is risky, costly, and time-consuming. Don't let IT overwhelm you. Learn more about Five Nines at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Here at Bounce Milwaukee, we not only want families and friends to build connections, we also want to grow those connections in our community. That's why every Wednesday night from 5 to 8 p.m., we host Refuel the Resistance. It's a great chance to have a drink in our arcade bar, try something from our fantastic restaurant, connect with progressive activists, and support local organizations. For more information about Bounce Milwaukee's Refuel the Resistance, visit us at bouncemilwaukee.com or call 414-312-4357.
I would like to thank you, President Trump. I also want to express my thanks to government workers.
Foxconn CEO Terry Goh is thankful to the Republicans who delivered his $4.5 billion in corporate welfare.
Thank you to Foxconn.
Scott Walker thanks the foreign corporation who received the largest corporate welfare subsidy in history.
Thank you, Mr. President.
What about thanking the hardworking Wisconsin taxpayers you saddled with a generation of debt for a project that may never be paid back?
People should be rushing to me and patting my back and say, hey, thank you, Mr. Foxconn.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212 and tell him no thank you to corporate welfare, no thank you to environmental rollbacks, no thank you to a project that may never be paid back, no thank you to Foxconn. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, on Twitter at Devil Radio, on the party line, talk or text 844-967-2789.
Dom, let's get to the phones.
Betsy, happy Friday. You are up. What do you got for us today?
Hello.
Hey, Betsy, you're on the air.
Happy Friday, guys.
Thank you.
If we don't get this bastard out, I don't know. I mean, I think he went to Washington, really, because he was summoned by the investigators from there to talk about things, since things are rolling along.
You mean earlier this week it wasn't just about meeting with Trumpy Trump and loving up on the Foxconn deal? It was perhaps a deposition to federal investigators? That would be your speculation, Betsy?
This is way bigger than we think. I mean, the NRA, obviously, Scott Walker loves the NRA, and everything. Something might have happened. I don't know. Might have got caught.
Might have got maybe a little Butina action. What are you saying, Betsy?
Yeah, I don't know why my mind goes there, but it's just like, you know. And I'm really sad for Mike Ellis's family. My condolences. Do you remember when he broke that mallet?
I
broke
do.
his gavel.
Yeah, I do.
Not his finest moment,
No,
Betsy.
I specifically called my kid over, and I was watching it on YouTube or whatever it was on. I think it was Wisai after the fact, and I pointed to it. I said, "Never ever act like this." It was a lesson for my children, but you know that's how politics is, I guess.
Oh, but he was a lifelong Wisconsinite, and bless him for waking up to, you know, the sickness of money. I mean, it was, I don't know. I suppose if Walker didn't slap him down, he wouldn't have woken up. He just would have gone along for the ride like everybody else.
Betsy, I got to ask you quickly, did you hear our one guest, the former Mayor McGrumpy Pants, now just Paul Soglin? I have stated publicly I'd pay money to see Paul Soglin debate Scott Walker. Were you compelled at all by his appearance here on the show? Are you ready to be all in, Soglin in it to win it?
I liked Paul Soglin very much, but I really think I have to go Malin Mitchell or Kathleen Reinhardt. I haven't decided really. I know Tony Evers. He's got the name recognition, so he doesn't need any help. But Calder Royce, I don't know.
She just went up big on TV today, Betsy.
I heard that. I shouldn't talk like that. I want anyone win it. I don't care who.
Right.
Okay, just get this bastard of a governor out.
Oh, sorry about that, Betsy. Thank you for the call.
I think that's a sentiment to take into the weekend. Let's get this bastard of a governor out. I think it sort of speaks for itself. We appreciate the call, Betsy. 844-967-2789. Going down the call list. Mark from the SAC, you're next. Welcome, sir.
Well, you mentioned Scott Walker getting an A+. I think that the only A+ he's ever got is for corruption. I mean,
Hey, he's an Eagle Scout, Mark. Come on.
He got an A+ for cashing, right?
And then choose it Russian.
Just an elective. I'm just going to take Russian this semester just to round out my electives.
It's hard to believe, but that let's see the transcript. If you want us to accept you're telling the truth, let us see the transcript. I mean, that Scott Walker's the guy who was stealing newspapers back in college because he thought they printed something negative about him, and I think they made a comment about him then unfit for any office at any time when he was back in college. I don't know if you guys remember that little storyline.
Paul, Mark, do you think there's any Scott Walker storyline that I have failed to put in the Rolodex in some way, shape, or form?
I don't think so. They just you mentioned when I said I got that one in mind too. It's right in the memory file. That it comes top of mind pretty easily.
Well, when you got a lifetime of corruption, there's plenty of instances to draw upon, Mark.
And it started young for him. I think that he's willing to do whatever it takes to win, and that supposedly a good Christian Eagle Scout shouldn't be thinking like that. He should be thinking, the means justify the ends, not the end justifies the means. That
Mark, here's what I suspect. I suspect he cheated his way to an Eagle Scout. He didn't actually honor all the required steps of his respective merit badges. I strongly suspect a man who would cheat his way trying to win a college election, cheat his way when he was elected governor of the state of Wisconsin, cheat his way through a recall, cheat his way through a presidential campaign. seemingly be a willing colluder with the Russians if, he had only been a stronger candidate, Mark. I strongly suspect, and I'm going to start the rumor, Scott Walker cheated to get his Eagle Scout.
I will do anything it takes to win.
844-967-2789. 2 minutes left this hour. Paul, you are it. Thanks for calling, man. What do you got today?
Hey, happy Friday, boys.
Thank you.
Yesterday I thought of Scott Hole and the Russian girl. That's been hard to get out of my mind, but I'm working at it. Hey, Scott Hole, he will say or do anything to keep his job as governor. But you wait until he's trying to terrorist kick in. The farmers are going to get killed on this one, and that's a big border block for him in the state of Wisconsin. The soybeans, the corn, the cranberries, and it's going to be a big deal unless Pumpkinhead does something between now and then. But if not, these guys are going to take a big hit, big financial hit. So that's what I have for you guys on Friday.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, thank you.
Think about the timing, Dom. Vladimir Putin will be arriving at the White House just in time to put that story right on the front pages again, right before the midterm elections.
And, of course, the tariffs, as we get closer to the election, whatever impact they will have will be more and more pronounced as the days pass by.
Now I see a Kavanaugh commercial on the cable news. He's a grand slam, don't you know? Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Listening to us is always like an inside the park grand slam. It's so cool. Come back with us. More of your grievances. The happy hour. It starts right now. 844-967-2789.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
And I'll tell you why I can't put up with you people, because you're bastard people.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern. You are listening to 1510 a.m. WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 a.m. WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Deadly boating accident, President Trump tape. I'm Ann Cates. A probe is underway into a deadly tour boat accident in southwestern Missouri.
Everyone on board the duck boat, carrying more than 30 tourists when it capsized and sank on a lake near Branson, have been accounted for. 4 more bodies have been recovered, bringing the death toll to 17. All of the circumstances leading up to the accident still aren't clear.
I know everybody wants to know the details, and all those details will come in time.
But for right now, it's about really trying to protect the families, to unite the families, and to deal with the situations they're in.
Missouri Governor Mike Parsons says his state is dealing with a terrible tragedy. I'm Clayton Neville.
The feds have a tape of a conversation between the president and his personal attorney about a payment to a woman who claims she had an affair with Donald Trump.
He was the president's fixer, and Mr. Trump's current lead personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, confirms that the FBI is in possession of a recording purportedly where Michael Cohen and then GOP nominee Donald Trump discussed a payment to Karen McDougal. The former Playboy model says she had a year-long affair with Mr. Trump in 2006. While the National Enquirer bought her story and spiked it, McDougal was reportedly upset enough about that the recorded conversation was about a hush payment to her. The payment was never made, according to the New York Times, which broke the story. The president and the Trump camp have long denied there were any affairs, including with Stormy Daniels, who was paid $130,000 just before the 2016 election. Bob Costantini, the White House.
President Trump has invited Russian leader Vladimir Putin to the White House this fall. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the second summit is vital.
I'm happy that the two leaders of two very important countries are continuing to meet. And if that meeting takes place in Washington, I think it's all to the good. Those conversations are incredibly important. We have our senior leaders meeting all across the world with people that we have deep disagreements with.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones
Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms.
Over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Once again, the American public has some reading to do. A 29-page indictment to
make a confession on behalf of the panel. Dom's not going to read the indictments.
Come on, maybe.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
Are you feeling lucky? Up for grabs tonight is the 6th largest Mega Millions jackpot ever.
You can't win if you're not in.
And it only costs you $2 for a chance at more than $400 million. Chances by many accounts, however, that are
slim to none.
It was just this past January that a $450 million Mega Millions jackpot was won. And again, although your chance at winning is $292 million to 1, people
thinking about making a movie about the young soccer team trapped in a cave for nearly 3 weeks will have to make sure they get 2 thumbs up from the Thai government. The military-run country. And Kate's.
Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, Fish Dad!
Oh, come on. For Dad 411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Despite their popularity, bird scooters might be off the streets of Milwaukee soon, at least until next year. The National Commission for Voter Justice is holding a field hearing in Milwaukee tomorrow to hear residents talk about voter suppression in the area. And Festa Italiana takes place this weekend at the Summerfest grounds in Milwaukee. The Italian Heritage Festival, featuring food, music, and fireworks, starts today and goes through Sunday. Outside this afternoon, rain likely. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Tonight, a 70% chance of rain with lows in the low 60s. Tomorrow, a 60% chance of rain with highs in the low 70s in Milwaukee, mid-70s for Madison. And for Sunday, partly sunny. You're listening to Resistance Radio.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. 3, 2, 1. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, we are sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour, and we ask the question, WT Friday, man, what is going on in this world? The audio tape of Donald Trump and the fixer, Michael Cohen, and Dom, the earlier conversation. And this begs, I mean, this has got to be just a warning shot, just a morsel of what could be in Michael Cohen's digital file, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, if you're the fixer for a guy like Donald Trump, who's into everything, sin, corruption, mafia, Russian laundering for oligarchs. I mean, this guy has got his fingers in everything. If you believe the reporting, what could be the worst thing that Michael Cohen has Donald Trump on tape saying? I mean, think about it. Theoretically, there are billions of possibilities, but what could be the worst one? And I want people's participation in this little exercise, Dom. It's a Friday. Have a little fun with me. What do you think Cohen's got in the files? What's the worst thing, keeping it FCC compliant, that Trump ever said to him that is captured on tape, and that Michael Cohen shot a little warning shot across the bow today, and Donald Trump, he'll be angry tweeting all weekend. Mark my words. 844-967-2789. What do you think Cohen's got on the other tapes?
What could anything that Trump could have said to Cohen be any worse than what was already recorded and released about grabbing women by the...
Oh, yes.
You think so?
Oh, much worse. In my imagination, it gets much worse than what we know so far about Donald Trump.
Admission of crimes?
Sure. I would say conspiracy to... Absolutely.
Homophobic speak?
Sure.
All of it.
And probably graphic representations of how women that he has had sexual encounters with against their will, just let him do it, question mark?
Headline, CNN, Michael Cohen sending clear message to Trump by speaking real truth. Sources say Gloria Borger, Dana Bash, and Don Lemon on CNN.com. Cohen sending a clear signal to President Trump and his attorney Giuliani that, quote, the truth is not your or your client's friend, according to sources with knowledge of Cohen's thinking. Two sources familiar with Cohen's thinking said he has, quote, hit the reset button and is continuing his commitment to speak the real truth.
Well, Dominic, I would say the truth is a complete stranger to Donald Trump, certainly not a friend.
In particular, the same sources say Giuliani is wading into dangerous territory when he asked Cohen to tell the truth about the Trump Tower meeting with Donald Trump Jr. and Russian meddling in the election. For the past year, Cohen has vehemently denied participating in or knowing about any collusion with Russia during the 2016 campaign. These new comments from sources close to Cohen suggest he might have information about Trump and others in the president's orbit to share with investigators, though Cohen hasn't publicly revealed any details yet.
Well, Dom, I got some more details for our fine audience right here on the Devil's Advocates, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My source, CNN. Mueller team wants to talk to the Manhattan Madam.
What?
CNN reporting special counsel Robert Mueller's team have reached out to the lawyer for Kristen Davis, famously known as the Manhattan Madam. Although more accurately, she's a pimp, right?
She's a pimp. Yeah, she's a. I mean, it doesn't rhyme with Manhattan Madam. It's starting with M's, but let's just be real here. She's a pimp.
She's a female pimp.
Pimps is pimps.
Davis, who went to jail as part of the scandal surrounding former Democratic New York Governor Eliot Spitzer, has worked for Roger Stone.
What?
An outside political advisor, President Donald Trump, to President Donald Trump. They're close. Stone is the godfather to Davis's son.
So Roger Stone is the godfather to the pimp's son.
Yes.
What?
As CNN is reporting.
What?
I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart.
You broke my heart.
We didn't even get into the newest headlines. What did Donald Trump say? Before we get all the way, Donald Trump said, what about Michael Cohen?
It's reported on CNN as well today. I can't believe Michael would do this to me.
You broke my heart, Michael.
Don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again.
Believe it.
Dominic, back to the CNN piece on the Manhattan Madam, #pimp. The same source said Davis did clerical and website work for Stone. Yeah. That's what all madams and pimps do in their spare time, Dom.
Right.
Little WordPress. No subpoena has been issued yet, and the source did not have direct knowledge of why Mueller is interested in Davis. Manhattan.
Let's see. A madam. She's setting up women to have sex. There's a Manhattan developer who's now the president, who's now been, paid off porn stars and centerfolds. Maybe Trump might have been a client.
Or Michael Cohen. Or any of the other, even Giuliani, right?
Right?
Anyone in the sphere could be pulled into this tangentially. Daniel Hochheiser, an attorney for Davis, said, if the special counsel subpoenas her, I will be representing her. Almost like it's expected. Hochheiser declined to comment about the substance of the conversation between Mueller's team and Davis. Mueller is currently heading the investigation looking into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election and whether there was any collusion with the Trump campaign associates. No collusion. Trump has repeatedly denied any collusion. Hochheiser said neither he nor his client have been subpoenaed yet by Mueller's investigators. So there's a madam involved, a pimp. We've now brought a pimp into the cast of characters.
Well, it's about damn time.
Into the Donald Trump Mueller investigation.
I mean, Donald Trump, let's remember, with Susan McDougal, who, of course, the news today that there is a recording of Donald Trump speaking with Michael Cohen about paying off Susan McDougal, or whatever her rights to the story were with his buddy over at the National Enquirer. I'm sorry, Karen. What did I say, Susan? Thank you. Karen. But what did he do after he bed Ms. McDougal? We put some money on the cabinet, man. Put some money out.
Try to pay her off almost as if she was a very pretty prostitute.
And maybe it's habit because the madam.
That's how he got most of the sex in his life, was by leaving some money on the dresser. I mean, don't you think he still puts a little deposit on the dresser for Melania?
No, it's not on the dresser. It goes right into the bank account. 844-967-2789.
Technology is wonderful. I hear you can do that with an app now.
There is an app for that. Is there an app for getting a couple of hookers over to your place?
Well, apparently it's not Trojan, man, because as we understand, Donald Trump almost always goes bareback.
Oh, no. I never want to hear that. Oh.
I only say it because it's reportedly true. According to Stormy Daniels and others.
So there you go. A little sex.
At least this Trump presidency keeping us entertained between the Russian spies and the collusion and the paid off sex workers and the Playboy Playmates.
And the ties to, of course, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker. We should never, ever, ever forget Scott Walker. And if he is the person named in the complaint against Butina, who apparently had a private meeting at the campaign launch. Well, I haven't
not in the atrium?
No, the atrium would have been at the NRA convention.
Yes.
She was in Waukesha, right up the street here when Governor Walker launched his presidential campaign. We know that Butina was there. She posted pictures on Facebook about it.
The official launch, not the shadow campaign launch when he was illegally accepting monies in contrast to FEC codes, right, Dom?
The question for Governor Walker is, did you, in fact, have a private meeting or have any discussion with Maria Butina at your actual presidential launch?
And was there any barebacking going on?
Oh, no.
Folks, we are the devil's advocates. Inquiring minds want to know. Come back with us. Join us on the phones. What's on the tapes? I'd like to hear your rampant speculation at 844-967-2789.
But especially the women made me feel good.
That comment will come back to haunt me.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's three big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on them anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
J.D. Davis Funeral Home, located at 4803 West Burlott Street, is dedicated, dignified, and distinguished in serving you in your time of need. Direct cremation specials starting at a very low cost of $595. That does not include cremation permit or crematory fee. Traditional funeral packages starting at $1,995 with a 20-gauge metal casket included. Title 19, Milwaukee County General Assistance accepted. Call today, 414-444-8300.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Do you love public education? Do you want to support your schools? Then you should support the people who make them work. You should support teachers and their unions. Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions, and when the school bell rings, it is crucial that teachers do not check their rights at the door. The ability to organize and advocate around issues that improve the quality of a teacher's workplace will increase opportunities for students and make schools safer for everyone. Stand with teachers, stand with WEAC Region 7.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
My Congresswoman Gwen Moore.
I think that you guys are filling a very important space. I think African Americans consume radio at a very high rate, and they really rely on radio for information. And so, word of warning to all those candidates out there, don't ignore these inexpensive ways to advertise.
Well, wait until we get our FM. They're going to get more expensive all the time.
Radio for the 99%.
Cowboy.
The big and tall of political talk. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
Well, I'm packing up my
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. 844-967-2789 if you would like to participate in this fine conversation.
You know what Kid Rock and, quite frankly, Ruin with Joe in college taught me, Dom?
What's that?
Pimpin' ain't easy.
It's real hard.
Dom, question asked. What is the question being asked of us on the text? I have asked you people, and apparently you have not responded to my call or challenge.
You people.
They love it when I call them that. 844-967-2789. What is the worst thing that Michael Cohen may have on tape of Donald Trump? I mean, who does not want to play at this game? I think it could be fun, Don, but what was the text?
Jeff had text to us, wasn't there allegations of human trafficking at Trump's modeling agency?
Okay, here is the best thing I can do to answer that question for you, Jeff. Snopes.com. Donald Trump rape and trafficking accusations claim Donald Trump raped his former wife. I've heard that claim as well. And a young woman, and his modeling agency was found to be trafficking young girls. That's the one we're trying to get at. Now, I've heard the ex-wife recant.
Mm-hmm.
She said that was just a rougher form of sex than their typical. The young woman's case was dismissed, if I understand correctly, but let's get into it. In October of 2016, Republican candidate Donald Trump came under fire after the release of a decade-old tape capturing him making lewd comments. That is not the worst tape that's going to come out about Donald Trump, I assert. Shortly afterwards, an image containing allegations about incidents of Trump having sexually abused women circulated via social media. Are we not going to talk about how Ivana Trump swore under oath in a 1989 deposition that Donald Trump raped her? We've heard that one. Are we not going to talk about the fact that Trump model management was caught trafficking young girls and hiding them in basements? Let's get to that question, because that's the one being asked of us. Let me see if I can find that he raped his wife and that he had scalp reduction surgery. Something happened on that forehead, Trump. Let me dig in. Let's get back to the phones.
844-967-2789. Another point brought up by Jeff also with regards to Roger Stone. Didn't Roger Stone say that Walker rigged 5 elections in the state of Wisconsin?
He did.
I mean, literally, Roger Stone said that.
Wisconsin Public Radio reports that. It's out there in the greater media sphere.
Let's get to the phones. Pete from Milwaukee. You're up. Hey, Pete. Happy Friday. Thanks for calling. What do you got?
Hi. Same to you.
Thank you.
I just Googled Marquette University foreign languages, and guess what doesn't come up?
There's no Russian on there.
Niet!
Well, at least now. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but
we've got people digging. We got sleuths out there digging in to find out if Marquette University ever offered Russian. Maybe harder to prove whether or not Scott Walker ever took the class if it existed, but we're not even convinced there ever was a Russian offering while Scott Walker attended Marquette.
Well, you know what? Maybe his traitorism started way back at Marquette when he took a private course with a Russian student,
Russian tutor. That was the beginning of his weaning him onto the Russian KGB.
And the baby mama story, allegedly his first opportunity at a cover-up.
Yes. So, maybe he's got some more stuff he's covering up. I don't know, but
most definitely,
right,
indubitably, he's covering up.
Pete, before we get to perhaps what your thoughts are on what could be contained in some other Cohen tapes, this Scott Walker tie and this meeting with Butina and this complaint that insinuates that perhaps she actually met with Scott Walker when he launched his presidential bid here in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Do you think that we're just out on the ledge on this one, that we're just got the Trump derangement syndrome, or do you think that we're making some valid assertions that perhaps these are things that should be further investigated and there should be some very specific hard questions asked of Governor Walker?
Yes, because you tell your lawyer probably things you're not going to tell anybody else because you never expect it to be divulged.
I tell Dom stuff because he's my work wife.
It's all pillow talk, Pete. All right, so what could be in those tapes, Pete?
Well, you name it. I mean, this guy is really dirty, and I can't even imagine how much baloney he's got in there. But there's probably crimes, and that's very significant.
Do you think he ever discussed the reality of the PP tape with Michael Cohen, and do you think it was captured on audio in digital or tape format?
Yeah, I think I heard somebody say on another program it's a lot worse than that. It's so disgusting that it's like that phrase in Animal House, things of when they say that so disgusting that I can't mention it here in decorum, because
Pete, I cannot imagine, and we appreciate the call, Pete. Hope you have a great weekend. We hope you all do, but most importantly, we hope you listen to the end at 844-967-2789 and join us on the phones. Grievances and speculation about what could be contained on the Cohen tape. But Dom, I cannot imagine if you had the worst I've ever said privately on tape. I mean, hell, I've crossed a few lines on the radio, and that's FCC governed. I've said you and I have secrets on each other. We are unindicted co-conspirators in many ways, my friend.
The greatest radio show ever.
Dominic, you are the greatest unindicted co-conspirator ever, my friend. Come back with us. Be our friends. Join us on the phones. Once again, that phone number, 844-967-2789.
Hey, I'm smoking. Hey, I'm drinking. Trying to free my mind. I've been sitting here just wasting time. Drinking, smoking, trying to free my mind.
What do you think of these online reports that say you had a love child in college?
I hate the children being taken away. I gave it to Scott Walker.
There's more to be done.
I'm Jesse Pika-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Believe me, there is no collusion. Believe me.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the Grads of Life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
We got Mark Pocan, live via phone. Mark, does Paul Ryan hate poor people?
Oh, he hates poor people and middle-class people. I mean, I think when he was probably 5 years old playing with Play-Doh, trying to, adjust the taxes on Play-Doh. So, to be fair, I think he's doing what he always said he was going to do. It's just no one actually believed he was either that cruel, evil, or dumb to do it.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Democratic candidate for Congress Kathy Myers has filed a federal election complaint against her primary opponent, Randy Bryce, claiming he used campaign funds for personal use. Getting information and statistics about Milwaukee is now easier thanks to the city's open data portal. And as thunderstorms rolled through Kenosha County last night, an unidentified college-aged woman who was attending the Country Thunder Music Festival was struck by lightning. The woman was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Outside this afternoon, rain likely, temperatures in the mid-70s. Tonight, a 70% chance of rain with lows in the low 60s. Tomorrow, a 60% chance of rain. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once?
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
Those melodramatic fools neurotic to the
If only I
bone,
could sing rock and roll.
body.
I always wanted to be a rock and roller. I can fake it, but I can't sing it. Appreciate you listening. I won't sing. I'll
Thank you.
do you,
Thank
our
you.
audience. That's solid. We'd have no one left. 844-967-2789. It's the happy hour. It's Friday. It's our favorite happy hour of the week. And we want you to help me speculate what might be contained in a Trump tape. Dom, we're going to play a little commentary from one of our good friends. But of course, we know what he really means is Putin's bitch.
Hashtag Putin's bitch.
Hey guys, Will Durst here with a few choice words about the President of the United States bending the knee to Vladimir Putin. Talking about the press conference in Helsinki, Finland, where Donald Trump made Neville Chamberlain look like a historical badass. Ronald Reagan is spinning in his grave so fast you could light up the entire eastern seaboard. Both sides of the aisle expressed outrage to see Trump suck up to Vlad the Impaler so hard, many people expected the Russian president to sport hickeys all over his body. Not saying Trump's behavior was a bit smoochy, but Melania has to be hoping he wore a condom. And that was in public. We have no idea what went down at their extra special double secret 2-hour meeting alone with each other. Maybe they dismissed the interpreters and let nature take its course. Treated themselves to a few horizontal refreshments, if you know what I mean. Engaged in a little gland-to-gland combat. Spent some quality time bumping uglies. Violated the prime directive by engaging in the forbidden polka, or as the kids say, got themselves some stank on the hangdown. Former Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta wondered aloud, what does Putin have on Trump? Do the Russian banks simply own him? Is there a video with a live boy or a dead goat? Maybe it has something to do with his family. Did Eric break a Russian mobster's Tiffany egg? Is it one of those explosive implants, like in Kingsman? Maybe he gets points for every suck-up, and after accumulating enough, he gets to invade the very aggressive nation of Albania. The only thing we know for sure is our president is so deep in the pocket of Putin, he'll be combing lint out of his hair until the midterms. For WRRD 1510 AM Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, I'm Will Durst.
I love Will Durst.
Yeah.
Did I say he was a funny guy, Dom?
Oh, he's a funny guy. He's coming to town, a couple months?
September 15th.
All right, coming quick.
Doing a show right here in town. I'll get the venue details, all that stuff. We'll share with the audience. He being a friend, he better come down to Brady Street and have a cold one with us.
You know it, man. He was slinging weed on this street 30 years ago.
Buddy, we love you so much, we'll let you buy the beer. 844-967-2789. Dan Coates, Dom, heads up 17 security agencies, sort of the gatekeeper between the deep state and the president.
He's more of a coffee boy, man. Who knows who this guy is?
Hardly involved in the campaign at all. No, you're thinking of Manafort.
Yeah.
Dan Coates was being interviewed by Andrea Mitchell in real time yesterday. He was asked, and Andrea Mitchell reported about the tweet being sent out by Donald Trump. Vlad the Impaler's coming to the White House. And Dan Coates had to react somewhat surprised. I mean, taken aback, you might say, Dom. We've got the sound.
And the sound is fine, but the video is stunning. The look on his face, I would certainly go try to check it out. But here we go. Dan Coates, interviewed by Andrea Mitchell at the Aspen Security Forum yesterday. Cut 1.
The president was alone with Vladimir Putin for 2 hours, more than 2 hours, with only translators. Basically, how do you know what happened? You were on the dark side of the moon. How do you have any idea what happened in that meeting?
Well, you're right. I don't know what happened in that meeting. I think as time goes by, and the president has already mentioned some things that happened in that meeting, I think we will learn more. But that is the president's prerogative. If he had asked me how that ought to be conducted, I would have suggested a different way.
Don't do it!
But that's not my role. That's not my job. So it is what it is.
Trump's got a secret plan to not only defeat ISIS in 30 days, but also warm over the Russians. Dan Coates continuing on, of course, a major concern, a question. Could Putin have recorded their private rendezvous? Cut
What?
2.
Like a bug? Like he taped the meeting, Dom?
Weird.
Is there a risk that Vladimir Putin could have recorded it?
That risk is always there.
Is there a risk that the soccer ball could have been wired?
Yes.
Was that a World Cup soccer ball, or was that we have ability to measure those kinds of things and determine whether or not they are
I kind
a
of
risk
figured
or
you
not.
did.
But every time I come home with, there's a limit to what they can give you if you meet with your foreign adversaries. All that has to go through the radar and processes, and is it less than $20 or whatever? So I'm sure that soccer ball has been looked at very carefully.
Melania had it next. I'm not clear what happened to that soccer ball.
My question, how do we know for sure that Trump does not have a microphone as a suppository?
We don't. I mean, based on the things he says, that could be entirely plausible. Finally, Andrea Mitchell.
Can I say one last thing?
Yes, please.
The look on Gary's face just then, priceless.
Andrea Mitchell.
Much like Dan Coates' look yesterday.
The Aspen Security Forum. Andrea lays it on cut 3.
See, I saw the Gary coming. I pre-Gary'd him. He's blaming you, Gary. You're the Gary saying.
No cut 3? We got no cut 3. It's plain and nothing's happening. All right. Well, we can read the quote.
That's always just as effective. And
as the late afternoon tweet landed, Director of National Intelligence National Intelligence Daniel Coates was on stage at the Aspen Security Forum in the middle of an interview with Andrea Mitchell, who broke the news to him. Coates, clearly surprised, took a deep breath and said, "Say that again? Did I hear you?" She repeated the news. Okay, that's going to be special. You got cut 5? Anything working in there? Are you hitting the right buttons?
That's going to be special.
There we go.
That's
all right.
gonna be
Hey,
special.
all right. That's all right.
You are a special fella.
844-967-2789. Director of National Intelligence, Dan Coates, doesn't know what the hell Trump said. And I guess that is his prerogative. If the president has a secret plan to foster foreign relations, great.
But how do you know the other guy wasn't mic'd and may not compromise you further? I mean, just like the Michael Cohen tapes could contain some, let's just say some troubling, some distressing conversations between the president and his fixer, I think the American people may be just as troubled by the conversation that was had between Vlad the Impaler and Trump the Impalee.
Well, I'm sure President Trump was very strong and very powerful in saying that, of course, we can't have, your country, your intelligence officers hacking our electoral systems, our political parties. You can't do that. We cannot have that. I'm sure Donald Trump was very tough on that, but he just got a little, nervous on stage next to him and couldn't say it and had to do the double negative.
Well, Dom, when it's a dictator, Trump just lets him do it.
Grab him by the presidency. 844-967-2789. And from Oregon, you are up. Thanks for calling, Ann. What do you got today?
Hi, guys. I don't know if you covered this earlier, but regarding Michael Cohen, somebody brought up the client thing where they're not supposed to talk, where the
attorney-client privilege.
Attorney-client privilege, yeah. But I remember Michael Cohen saying regarding the payment to Stormy, who was, of course, talked about before the payments to Karen. I remember Cohen saying that he wasn't acting as a lawyer when he did that he was just doing it as a friend on the side, and he was called the fixer. But how does that jive with your memory?
Well, and, of course, memories are shaken when courts order you to release your client list. Michael Cohen, damn it, I forgot my point. You go.
And I don't recall specifically what role he said he was playing when he participated in that payoff of Stormy Daniels.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. And first and foremost, I don't think you can claim privilege or executive privilege or attorney-client privilege when you're conspiring to commit a crime. Now, why I think this is in the public is because Cohen feels like he is above and not I don't want to say exonerated, but is not complicit in the crime so much as Donald Trump. He's shooting a shot across the bow. He's saying, you think this one's intriguing? You should know what I got back here in the vault. I mean, Michael Cohen certainly has, if he's got this, he's got much more incriminating stuff on Trump.
Wait till you hear the rest.
Exactly.
Well, most of it's been turned over. He was able to shield very little. I mean, we're talking what?
Out of millions
something
of
approaching
documents.
1 million documents or more.
Very few.
Lots of recordings. I mean, they got the hotel room even. If they get your hotel room, if you're the kind of guy who not only has a house and office, but also a permanent hotel room, and the FBI comes and grabs up everything, you're probably in trouble, and so is your client list. In my understanding, Sean Hannity also on that list.
Oh, that's right. Oh, maybe that's what I'm confusing it with. Because it was Hannity's that said he didn't perform as a lawyer, that it was just, that's it. I got the two mixed up.
You know, the other point, Ann, that I would make, my understanding, Cohen only disclosed 3 clients. He disclosed Trump.
Yes.
Hannity.
Yes.
And the Trump Organization, but a similar, very similar, same names and everything, double D and PP, non-disclosure agreement had been put forth on behalf of supposedly an RNC guy who was married, impregnated a different Playboy model, and paid her to go have an abortion. And the speculation, which has not come to fruition yet, but which I think is dead on, I think it's another Trump Playboy model. I think he impregnated and paid for the abortion. I don't think the third party that this Brody, the RNC
Elliot
funder,
Brady, yeah.
I don't think it was his baby. I think it was Trump's baby. And Brody wanted a job in the administration. He said, I'll take the fall. And by the way, Brody was the guy paying the hush money.
Oh, wow.
Which is probably an illegal campaign contribution of some sort, assuming that Donald Trump in fact, perpetrated the nasty with the new or the different Playboy model.
Number 2.
That was impregnated and eventually paid to have an abortion.
Okay, thanks for straightening me out.
Are you sure
you got your flow chart
in?
I mean, really, and let's not forget, there's like 20 accusers of Donald Trump, Dom. I mean, Summer Zerbos, the Apprentice contestant, she's got a civil suit, and he can't pardon himself out of that.
Correct.
He is subject to deposition. It's a defamation suit, and she's saying Trump defamed her by calling her a liar when she accused him of sexual assault. I mean, ultimately, it might be a Playboy model, it might be Stormy, it might be a madam, but you got to think Trump's penis is going to take him down. If the Russians don't, his penis will.
Yeah, right.
It's his own personal Vietnam, Dom.
Yeah.
Come back with us. We are the Devil's Advocates. We'll get you through the jungles and all the way home. Uh-oh. More breaking news. GOP Rep Sanford. I met accused Russian secret agent Maria Butina. But the question, did you take her down on the Argentinian Trail? Come back. I guess that was the Appalachian Trail he claimed to be on. It was the Argentinian mistress he was actually on. More Devil's Advocates on the other side. 844-967-2789.
In fact, the only thing your mouth is good for is being Vladimir Putin's holster.
Didn't do it. Lawyer f***ed me.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. That's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Bark and Scratch Outpost.
Our friendly staff is available 7 days a week to show you a variety of high-quality, local, and national brand pet foods. Be sure to visit our freezer area for a large selection of diets and bones. Bark and Scratch Outpost, 5835 West Blue Mound Road. Leashed pets are always welcome. At Bark and Scratch Outpost, we think outside the bag.
Come on down, you will see. We do it naturally. MilwaukeePetFood.com. Bark and Scratch Outpost.
I'm Andy Buck, field representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
Hi, I'm Becky from Bounce Milwaukee, and I want to be the first to invite you to our newest attraction, axe throwing at Fling Milwaukee. Bring your friends, date, co-workers, or family to experience the rush of throwing axes at Milwaukee's first indoor throwing arena. Open 6 days a week for corporate team building, bachelor and bachelorette parties, date night, or just a fun night out. More information at flingmilwaukee.com or 414-312-4357.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
The Devil's Advocates.
James Santel, he's a former U.S. attorney. He's our guest live on Brady.
Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, to talk about the latest news breaking as we speak.
The FBI raided Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, but once they got there, then they went back and got a more thorough warrant and said, we'll take everything.
My first reaction is you need to teach criminal constitutional law. You've got it just right in terms of the process.
They are kind of a big deal.
This is a really big deal.
Wreaking havoc on America, just like they wreaked havoc on Wisconsin. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Last segment of the day, the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, 844-967-2789, if you want to be spies like us.
Thank goodness, Dom, the Russians are all done with that bad behavior since Trump gave Putin such a stern public lecture in Helsinki.
Wrong.
They'll all be done now, right?
Wrong. Breaking news. Russians attempted to infiltrate 3 2018 campaigns, Microsoft says. Russian intelligence officers attempted to hack into the online accounts of staffers on 3 congressional campaigns in the upcoming midterm elections, a Microsoft executive said Thursday, marking the first public acknowledgement of a Russian attack on a 2018 race. Speaking at the Aspen Security Forum, Tom Burt, Microsoft Corporate Vice President for Customer Security and Trust, said the technology firm had earlier this year detected a fake domain that was likely used as part of a phishing attack directed at the 3 campaigns. Microsoft took down the site and prevented the victims from being infected by the particular attack, Burt said. So there you go.
They're still
happening. Do you think President Trump, this is still happening? No. No, he was saying no more questions. Not that no, this is still happening. I mean, it's happening now. And Trump just invited Putin to come to the U.S. this fall. And
between now and the midterms.
And they are actively trying to infiltrate and mess with our elections still.
And Dominic, didn't Republicans just yesterday vote down additional funding to try and stopgap the elective process?
I'm not.
And
clear.
didn't Scott Walker also, in his budget, fail to fund and fail to staff?
Yes.
Elections workers to help administer the elections here in the state of Wisconsin, despite Homeland Security telling us that the Russians tried to infiltrate Wisconsin's elections last time.
Well, so what?
Well, Roger Stone, Trump associate and probable soon-to-be felon, Roger Stone says Scott Walker rigged the elections 5 times in the state of Wisconsin.
Roger Stone, the godfather of the Madam's son,
the Manhattan Madams.
Yes, that guy.
That guy.
Trump's buddy, Roger Stone. That guy.
That guy. I think he's got a big tattoo of Nixon on his back.
What?
I've heard that's true. Sort of Johnny Knoxville style.
Oh my God. What do you got there, man? You want to get the headline out?
Just the headline. Trump team worries could Helsinki disaster strengthen Mueller's hand. I sure do hope so. Dana Bash at CNN. Donald Trump's legal team and close allies are increasingly concerned that the president's widely panned performance standing next to Vladimir the Impaler earlier this week could strengthen the hand of special counsel Robert Mueller at a critical time. The caution is a notable change in tone from just before the summit, when the president's team seemed bolstered by the political climate that married declining public support for Mueller's probe with an Inspector General report that raised significant questions about the conduct of the FBI. But one source with knowledge of the legal team thinking says it's now legitimate to fear Trump's erratic behavior at the Helsinki summit, coupled with last week's indictment of 12 Russian intelligence officers could be an inflection point in the whole process, one that could potentially make Trump less sympathetic and conceivably embolden Mueller, and that's before the Butina.
Well, these are all obvious, just signals, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, man. I truly believe that. This is.
Are we talking about Cohen tapes now, or Russian collusion, or
all
Scott Walker's involvement in all of the above?
All of the above. Everything that has happened this week, we're just scratching the surface.
That's why we do a show every day, at least on the weekdays, Dom. We are the Devil's Advocates right here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. We appreciate you listening. We hope you have a great weekend. Want to thank our fine guest today in studio. Where was the beer?
Come on, Paul.
Next time you don't bring beer, it's back to beer, but grumpy pants for you. Thank you, Paul Soglin, a fine mayor of my hometown and a fine Dem gubernatorial candidate. Hope he catches the Brewer game. I hope they beat those dreaded Los Angeles Dodgers. Have a great weekend. Do it again for you on Monday.
And it's sexy. Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com